Hello there, I'm Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another bit of creating this big ginormous home known as the DnD group mansion. Now, if you've watched the previous ones and remember what's going on, then you sort of know what's happening and why it's called the DnD group mansion. But I feel like we've went through enough parts now that I should actually sort of do a refresher. So anyone who's sort of forgotten some of the details, or, just wants to reiterate things to make sure you know what they remember is what's still going on, I figured right now would be a good time to just sort of rehash on some things that are going on. So basically, if you've been watching also my Create a Sim series going on right now, which is me taking my D&D characters that I have created and drawn and trying to recreate them in Sims, all those characters are eventually going to be thrown into this house all together, and we're gonna see what in the world particularly might happen. So it's gonna be several different personalities, several different likes and dislikes, and people's aspirations and all that stuff sort of being tossed into this house, and just gonna see what they end up doing with it. Are they actually gonna sort of get somewhere on their aspiration on their own? Are they gonna make friendships or enemies? Is there gonna be some romances that blossom? Are the romances that are already a thing, are they gonna continue being a thing, or is it going to end up ruining their relationship being tossed into a house altogether with all these other people? So yeah, it's like a little mini experiment going on with a reality show sort of feel. Basically toss a bunch of adult people into a house and see what happens. And part of the reason why I started doing this build, and especially doing it the way that I am doing it in so many parts, and just making it more detailed, or at least trying to, is because when it comes to building for the channel, sometimes it doesn't happen all the time, and usually at the very beginning of a build it definitely doesn't happen, but as the build is going on, I feel like I get pressured by the time, trying to make sure that I get it done before a certain deadline so that I can get it up and up on the channel, hopefully. And I feel like I sort of lose touch with some of the details in some parts because I feel pressured to try to finish it more quickly, or I'm more concerned of what other people potentially are going to think of this build, and I'm putting it on the gallery, so I want to make sure that multiple people potentially would like this build, and I still hope people like this build in particular. But with this one, I'm not trying to put a time pressure on me. I'm not worried about if it's going to be done super quickly, if it's going to be ready at a certain time. I'm just going with the flow as things go and building, and I knew this was going to be a huge build anyway because I'm using MCC to cheat the number of Sims allowed in a build at one time. Therefore, there's going to be a lot of Sims in this build, so I have to keep that in mind when building. So therefore, it's going to be a huge build, and even if I would not have took the time to go super detailed on things like I was planning on to for this build, it still would have been multiple parts because it is so huge. But I am doing super detailed. I even left my custom content in here because I really wanted especially once I get to the bedrooms, I wanted to be able to represent each character's personality in their bedroom, especially because that is a big part of the whole mini-series that is coming up, that all these different personalities are being thrown in together, and we're just gonna see what happens. So yeah, I left CC in just to have loads of options for customizing the rooms and doing styles that I really wanted to do. So yeah, so with all those things in mind, that's why the series is sort of stretched out. And also, when I first started the series, I was in the greenhouses, so I knew I wasn't going to have a whole lot of time on my hands to actually just sit down with one individual build and get it done by a certain time, or multiple individual builds and get them all done at certain times. So I thought this was the perfect way to still have some building on my channel and have some fun with it, and also make it be a part of a bigger thing in the long run. So, I'm just having fun with this build, enjoying it. I'm still going to post this build on the gallery. Obviously, since there's CC in it, you'll have to allow for CC. So it's not going to be whoop, easy, clean download in a way, because you'll lose a lot of the stuff if you don't have the CC I have. but you'll at least get the main structure build of the house. And like, I don't use just CC, I do use some of the stuff that's not CC as well, but you'll at least get a feel for the layout. So if you really like the layout, or if you want to try doing your own thing with MCC and adding a bunch of Sims into a house, feel free to use this house and decorate it however you want. And you might end up having some of the CC that I do have. I do not have a CC list. Those are like very time consuming. I don't understand how people can do Create a Sims and list every single CC items or even builds, because one, I don't know what CC I'm going to be using until I get into the build, and then trying to figure out what CC I have used. Like, with the Sims tray importer, it is a little bit easier, but this is still a lot of CC to go through and figure out, and some of them don't mention where they're from, like in their description for like that, so it would just be a very long time consuming thing. But if you ever see a piece of CC that you really like and you really want in your game, feel free to ask, and I definitely will try to figure out what that piece of CC is called and where you can potentially download it from. And if I even come across the link to download it, I will definitely give you the link straight away. Like, I am not against trying to help you find the CC I have. It's just listing literally all the CC in this build would be absolutely insane and just not something that I would be prepared or could do. So, sorry that there's not a CC list, but definitely still ask if there's ever any CC or an item that you're like, where did you get that from? And I'll definitely do my best to help you find it and tell you where to get it. I do get a lot of my CC from the Sims resource. I also have gotten a lot of it from Simsdom, which was mainly Create a Sim stuff, so not a lot of build and buy. A big chunk of my build and buy literally is from the Sims resource. I almost never get anything else from, like, I almost never get build and buy from anything else. I do have some of it from, like, Patreon, so, like, Patreon people. But those are the two main ones when it comes to the build and buy objects, except for a few things here and there, because if I went looking for, like, a particular thing, I found it maybe in other places, though a lot of times those places led me to the Sims resource or a Patreon account. So in the end, most likely it's almost all from those two. But yeah, so we are currently working on the kitchen. I'm sorry if some of the camera movements were a little bit crazy in the kitchen. I think like I was sort of forgetting to keep in mind that this is going to be put into a video and sped up. And, you know, normal speed, the turning and here and there is not bad, but fast speed, it may be a little much. So hopefully it's not too crazy. I think it's mainly in the kitchen because, like, I'm going back and forth from each side. And you also may have seen how I was doing, like, with the items that I was putting in different places. So that is a thing that I especially always do in the kitchens, because the kitchens, I feel like I put a lot more clutter in them than some of the other rooms. But sometimes when I know that I want to put a lot of clutter in a room, or, you know, I'm not exactly sure for, like, completely how I'm going to decorate it just yet, I'll sit a lot of the items, I'll go through the catalog, I'll pick out items that I'll like, I'll sit them in the floor of the room, and keep going through the catalog, and I'm not going to worry about where I'm going to put them until after I have picked everything out that I potentially want to try to put in that room. Then I start sort of putting it where I want it to, adding surface space where I need it. So if I need another table or something because I really want to have this item, you know, I move the things around and place them. And I pretty much always do that in kitchens, especially when I have my CC involved. Because without my CC, you know, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's still a lot to go through, don't get me wrong, but there's not nearly as much to go through without my CC. So when I'm doing like a regular build and I'm not using CC, I don't always do that method, but if I have CC, that is a method I use a lot. I use it in the future with other stuff as well, including some of the other extra rooms, some of the bedrooms, because I'm still working on this build. As I'm doing this voiceover, I'm on the bedrooms right now, which was the part that I've been looking forward the most. So I've been quite enjoying doing the bedrooms, so I hope you're looking forward to seeing them, because I am super excited about them. I've been having so much fun with the bedrooms. There are some here and there that at first I'm struggling to try to figure out how to decorate it and still keep their personality, like, there. At first, you know, there's a few rooms here and there, but then I start going through, and I've loved everyone's bedrooms, but in different reasons and different whys. Different whys? What? Anyway, you get the point. So, definitely keep an eye out for when the bedrooms start going, so keep watching and keep hoping for the bedrooms, because they're fun. They're a lot of fun. I enjoyed the whole build, though, in all honesty. Like, I have loved doing this build so much. I hope people are enjoying it. So for the comments I'm getting, it does seem like people are liking it, so yay! But, it is a long process, I will say. And I don't think I fully realized how long that this build was going to be. But I also keep adding things, and I don't necessarily mean to. But I don't know if I've mentioned it in the last part, but I eventually, I know I've been talking about how I did want to try to incorporate aspects of D&D slightly into the mini-series. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is every Sims morning, I will roll the dice. I probably will, roll them, while I'm recording, but I'll cut that part out because that's going to be a lot of rolling to do. But I am going to roll the dice for each character and, sort of figure out who gets access to what. So basically, if they roll a 20, they get access to everything in the house. There's not a room that's going to be locked off for them. They're going to have access to every single room. If they roll a 1, they get stuck in their bedroom for the whole day. They're not allowed to leave, except for to use the bathroom so that they don't pee themselves. And that will be one of the few moments where, I will take control of them, because I will make sure that they go directly to the bathroom and directly back to their bedroom, and then they get locked back in. So, but yeah, so I will be doing that. And if they roll a 10, they get access to some of the rooms, but not all the rooms. And I'm going to put a list with the numbers beside them. But with that in mind, I realized I did not have enough rooms to fully do it the way that I wanted to. And it was nowhere where I could be well, a 1 and a 2 means you're stuck in your bedroom. But that doesn't feel right with the rules of D&D, because a 1 is a critical one. It's supposed to be a very disastrous roll, and 20 is supposed to be amazing roll. So critical fail or critical success. So yeah, I didn't really like roping 19 with 20 and 2 with 1 and doing it by 2. So 3 and 4, if you rolled a 3 or 4, you got access to the same amount. So I do add enough rooms to make sure that there is 20 rooms. There is going to be a thing for each number. With that being said, I had to add another level to the basement. I've got to the lowest point the game will allow me. The game will not allow me to go any further, and I partially tried just because after things were I was doing a few design things with my characters and stuff like that, I came up with a character that's connected to one of the characters that was for surely going to be in this series, and they were for surely getting a credit sim. They're going to be in this house, and I really thought it'd be interesting to put this person into this household because of the way that they're connected. So I wanted to see, I moved things around to see if I could add at least one more bedroom. I'm going to make sure that this person gets literally the smallest bedroom in this house because, they're the last one coming, they're the last one added. They wasn't originally supposed to be a part of this, but I just wanted to put them in there for sort of I guess, gossip, juiciness, along that terms. So yeah, they're gonna get a small room, but I did try to see if I can add a basement level just to see, can I put 1 or 2 rooms down there and there could be a spare room for I don't know, who knows, some reason, but it won't let me go down any further. But I did squeeze another bedroom in by moving the layout around, so that one person's still coming. They may not be there the first day. I may do it they come into the second day or whatever. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now that I've rambled off onto a different tangent, I don't fully remember what started this conversation. I know I started talking about the space and adding another level, but I don't remember what got me there. This is how my brain works on a day-to-day basis. I could be in full-blown conversation with someone and absolutely cannot remember how that conversation led to the point it was. And I could backtrack on things and be oh, well, we were talking about this, and before that we were talking about this, and before that we were talking about this. So, I can sort of remember how things led to the point that we got to, but at some point I forget where it originated from. So, not sure how I got to the point where we're at talking-wise, but we're just gonna go back and talk about the build here and the lovely dining room. So this is the dining room. Obviously, there's a lot of chairs. Again, there's a lot of Sims. Constantly throughout this build, when it comes to these rooms that are not bedrooms, I'm constantly thinking about how many Sims are potentially going to be in this room at one time. Because there is going to be 30-some Sims living in this house. But they also might have connections and friends and family outside of the house that might come and visit them. So I have to think about the fact that there might be Sims that try to come and visit them on this lot. Therefore, that's going to be extra seating, extra room that I need for other Sims that may or may not come. On top of that, with there being 30-some Sims, it may come to a point where all of them are in individual rooms, like there's almost none of them in the same room, but there might also come points where they're all in the same room, or the majority of them are in the same room. So I tried to make sure that there was space, there was enough seating, and stuff like that, so that most of them wouldn't be standing up. Now we know Sims are sometimes weird anyway, and will stand even though there are 10,000 seats. But they at least have the option. So if it comes down to it, it can't be a situation where they can't say, like, oh, I didn't have anywhere to sit. No, you just chose not to sit. But, so, I'm constantly thinking about seating throughout this whole entire build. The dining room was no different, and I decided to try to go in a different direction with the dining room. I tried to make it fun, but also elegant at the same time. I don't know if it got that feel across, and I don't usually use lime green as, like, a main color of a room unless it's a bedroom. But even then, I feel like I don't use, like, those bright greens that often. So I decided to use, like, you know, have the chairs actually, like, be a bright green and add some green in there as, like, one of the more main colors and be a little bit different from what I'm used to, because this build has sort of all been about experimenting, playing around with things, having fun with stuff, and, you know, just enjoying building for, basically, it's like, so, you know, I've just been sort of playing around with a lot of things and trying things out, and, you know, it was like, let's try this and let's do this. Let's be a little bit different. You usually do this, so let's not do that. So this build has been a very fun journey for me. So I've quite enjoyed it. I really hope that a lot of people are actually enjoying it, even the people that are not commenting. So I hope y'all are liking the journey of this build. Now, like I had mentioned, there is going to be another level. So I'm adding rooms, and as you can tell, this is sort of a game room, and we already had a game room. But I took some parts out of that game room and incorporated them in this one. So I decided the one game room is gonna be more like games that are like on the lines of like board games and like physically there type games, versus these are like the more digital type games. So there's like consoles, and there's the little virtual reality, there's the arcade machine. So this is more of like the electronic digital game room, while the other ones, I guess, your more old school type game room. But I would still enjoy both of them myself. Now, I probably will put this game room up like a level higher when it comes to the rolls. So like I might put this one at like you have to roll a 11 or above, and the other one will be 10. Not because I necessarily think the old school, more traditional games are less fun. Granted, I am a huge video game person, I'm a video game nerd, so there is that, but the thing is these are more expensive than what a lot of the old school stuff is, except for when it comes to, like, you know, like the tables and stuff. Those are pretty expensive, pool tables and things like that. We still don't have pool in The Sims, do we? I miss having a pool table. Man, why'd I have to remind myself of that? Anyway. So, a lot of times this stuff can be a lot more expensive than some of the old school stuff. So yeah, partially that's where, like, to me, they're almost on level of funness together, but taking into account how much the stuff is worth and stuff like that, this would seem almost more like it's high-end stuff, so I would be putting this one a step above, but I don't think it's any less than the old school games myself. So I do like a good board game every once in a while. And even if I have to play that board game digitally, me and my boyfriend, we've played, like, Clue and stuff on the Switch and things. So, because at the time he didn't have a computer, like a real good working computer anyway, so we played it on the Switch. Now he has a really good working computer, so we can play some of that stuff on the computers now, but we haven't really played those games. Of course, we haven't played games together nearly as much online recently, just because both of us have jobs now, and his is actually a full-time job, so it's hard to fit in games there, especially when his is like totally different hours from my job. He's usually working later in the day while I'm usually working earlier in the morning. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, we're gonna be finishing up the second game room here, or the first game room. I don't really, technically it's on the main level, so in some ways some people would consider it the first game room, while the other one's the second one, because you have to walk a further distance when you walk into the house to get to the other one. But anyway, besides the point, yeah. So we're going to be finishing this one up and moving on to the living room, and then the video, I think, ends at the living room. The next video will be starting the new downstairs section, and I think in the new downstairs sections there's also some bedrooms, because I think I realized like I miscalculated on the bedrooms versus the Sims who I had thought were going to be going into this series, so I think I did like more creative Sims of people than I had bedrooms, but I am still not 100% sure. That's still something I need to technically check to make sure. Plus I added that extra one, so like, I think I counted right, but I was sort of counting in a hurry and added that one because I thought it was, like, you know, off. But I need to compare my creative Sims to that and double check. But yeah, right now we're fixing up the more traditional game room just to get it fixed and put back together, because, you know, I took some stuff out of it, so obviously it looks like it's got like a big hole, so I had to fix that before we got to the living room. But now we're going to the living room. But yeah, the next section is going to have, like, some hobby-based rooms. There's, like, a paranormal, like, little medium room or whatever. I thought that would just be fun to see if anyone actually tries to fool with that. And can I just say, when it comes to the likes and dislikes, I'm glad they added them. But I wish they would have went a little bit further with them. I wish, like, you know, when they bring in new hobbies and things like that, or new things to do, like the medium skill, like the medium thing for paranormal, and, like, there's been a few other ones that I've thought about from the pack. Why didn't they add those in? I guess because, you know, when it went to the paranormal stuff, it came before the likes and dislikes. And now they're doing pack refreshers. So, like, they're going back on some packs and refreshing them, apparently. So maybe they'll add that stuff in, but, like, you know, they don't have some of that stuff, but they have things like wellness. And wellness, didn't that come with Spa Day? They have that in there, but then they don't have some of the other ones in there. So I wish they sort of had those in there, and I also wish that likes and dislikes made a Sim more likely to do what they like and less likely to do what they don't like, because I've gotten a few cases where I get a pop-up or like a thing that says the Sim dislikes that activity or whatever, and I'm like, then why are you doing it? If you don't like it, why did you autonomously decide to do that? Like, I have a Sim, I think in my female gaming legacy, Julianos, he doesn't like dancing, and sometimes he'll just autonomously dance. And I'm like, then why are you dancing? Like, if you don't like dancing, then why are you dancing? So, I will say, like, I'm excited to have the likes and dislikes in here as, like, an extra little thing for this mini-series. But I'm partially not expecting the likes and dislikes to impact them quite as much as the traits. Now, some people still say the traits don't impact the Sims as much as they should, and they don't, but I feel like they definitely do more than the likes and dislikes do, so there's at least that. Maybe, hopefully, in the future, maybe they'll actually change the likes and dislikes to unpack the Sims a little bit more, or, you know, maybe make it so, at least, like, especially, like, the dislikes one. The dislikes one is really weird. Like, if I dislike something, I'm not gonna do it unless I have to do it. So, like, you know, if it's, like, a part of my job, like, at work, I really like doing, like, merchandising, things like that, so I like setting up the different sections to how it's supposed to look like, or at least get it close to what it looked like. A lot of times, like, especially the store I'm at now, our location is not set up similar to most stores. It's, like, considered a new gen version, and even amongst the new gens, ours is set up a little bit differently because we have a smaller, like, section, like a smaller store. So we have to improvise with a lot of things, and I like actually setting those up. One of my favorite jobs, and actually technically also my first job. My first job and my favorite job was very similar. They were both selling, like, women's clothing. And a lot of times I ended up being the ones who did the windows. So I would dress the mannequins, and if anything needed to be set up for, like, displaying or whatever. I like that sort of type of stuff. So at work, I like doing that, but I don't necessarily like putting furniture together or having to deal with, like, customers 24/7. I like some of the other stuff a little bit more, but I do it because I have to. But if I feel like if you're home and it's not like something that's like cleaning and cooking, like those type of things, if they dislike cooking, they need to eat, so I can understand cooking even though you dislike cooking. But when it comes to things like dancing, like Giuliano's, I don't see why you would like do it. Like, that's something that you don't have to do to survive or don't have to do to make money. Like, you don't have to do that, so why are you doing that? But yeah, so that would be the main thing. Like, I hope in some ways, like, maybe in the future the dislikes and likes impact stuff just a little bit more than they do now. And, like, you know, if they like something, they're more inclined to do whatever they like. And if they dislike something, they're less inclined to do it. So, like, you know, don't just randomly start dancing if you dislike dancing. Maybe, like, you know, if you live in a big household and you don't like cooking, maybe you only cook when you get, like, so hungry. But at first, you're almost, it's like your Sims waiting for someone else to do it, hopefully. You know, situations like that. But anyway, moving on to the build here. We are in the living room section. And I decided to play around with the couch because at this point, when I was doing this part of the build, Dream Home Decorator had only been out it hadn't been out too long, but it was by the point that I had just updated my game and actually got it, because I waited a while before I downloaded Dream Home Decorator and also updated my game. So this was like very close to when I finally fully got it working fully in my game and stuff like that. So I wanted to play around there with these couches. And I have mentioned it several times before, there is several Sims that are going to be in this house. So I want to make sure, just in case a lot of Sims decide to go and congregate in the same room, that there is seating if they so choose to sit. Now, obviously, Sims are stupid sometimes and they don't sit. But anyway, they can't say that there was nowhere to sit once again. Just playing around with this couch, having a lot of fun. I made one side of the couch face the fireplace and one side face the TV. So, you know, if you just want to read a book and look at the fireplace, cozy up by the fireplace, get your feetsies warm, you could sit on that side of the couch. If you want to watch TV, you can sit on the other couch. And technically, there's a small section that if you just don't want to deal with either one of those and you just want to sit, you can do that too. So, yeah. Anyway, I did put a little table feature in the middle of it so that it's sort of like, you know, this is why the couch is shaped so oddly. We decided to put like a table feature in the middle of it. No matter which side of the couch you're sitting on, there's a table surface behind you that you can set stuff on and do as you please. Now, I did try to decorate the living room a little bit, but since, you know, the living room this isn't like your typical house where, like, you know, there is like a main person of the house, so most likely they're going to be deciding the decorations for the living room and the kitchen and so on and so forth. This is not one of those. This is more structured like, you know, almost like a reality show type house. So I try to keep that in mind when decorating. I didn't want it to lean more towards one of the characters more than the others, but I also wanted it to seem lived in, so I actually eventually start putting like some glasses and like, I think I even put like a little popcorn thing and stuff on this table so that, you know, it also seems lived in. This is going to be an area where people are like constantly probably at there, and you know, if it's like a real life house like it would be in real life, chances are people probably have food and drink every once in a while with them while sitting here at the fireplace or watching TV or have you be it. So that's why I partially added some of that stuff, just to make it feel a little bit more like they're lived in. And technically the living room is going to be one of the few rooms that will never be locked off unless you're trapped in your bedroom. So if the character rolls a 1, they're trapped in their bedroom, they will not have access to the living room, the kitchen, or the dining room. But otherwise, as long as you roll a 2 or higher, those 3 rooms are guaranteed to be open to you. And it's partially because of their locations. Like, there is no way that I could fully lock off one, and it just, they could be right, because I feel bad for locking off the kitchen. Yeah, if they get locked in their bedroom, technically they can't get to the kitchen, but, you know, I could toss them food into their room, so that's not too big of a problem. But otherwise, it seems a little strange to lock that off completely, because then, especially like the living room, it has access, like the living room is where you get to the entryway, which leads to the kitchen and dining room. And it also leads to the area that goes downstairs. It leads to the area that's the hallway to go upstairs. And it technically leads to part of the outside. So if I locked the living room off, you automatically lose all of those sections. So I decided not to make the living room locked off, which is why I ultimately removed the door to that one gaming room so that there wasn't two doors into that room, but also I wanted to put the TV there. So yeah, anyway, the video is going to be ending soon here. I will let you know, just a little FYI for you all, if you have not watched some of the videos on the channel this week, I am going to give you a little secret hint here. There is a giveaway for any pack of your choosing in the middle of one of my videos, so watch the videos, figure out which video it is and where it's at, and follow the rules for that giveaway to have a chance to win. So it's the giveaway is only going to be lasting for about a little over a week from when the video went live. So if it's already live, then the countdown's already going. If it's not, then you have a little bit of time, but I'm not going to try to say which day it went up on or is going up on. But just keep an eye out for that. Have a little nosy. Try to figure out where it's at to have a chance for the giveaway. But anyway, I'm going to be ending this video here. I hope you like how the house is going so far. Let me know what is your favorite section at this time. Hope you're looking forward to seeing the rest of it. The bedrooms are right around the corner, I promise you. They actually are right around the corner. Like, we just got the downstairs section and then the bedrooms start and the extreme fun begins. But for now, we are still decorating some of the extra rooms. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know all that love of YouTube goodiness. And until next time, bye-bye!